Today we're going to be talking about multiplying mixed numbers. We've been talking about simplifying fractions, multiplying fractions, and today we're just going to take it another step into multiplying mixed numbers. So start with our vocabulary up here at the top. An improper fraction, if you'll remember, we've done this before, is when the top number is greater than or equal to the bottom number. So the numerator is greater than the denominator. And then we also have mixed numbers, and that is a whole number and a fraction together. So in our example over here, we have our whole number and a fraction. This is all one number, but it has a whole number and a fraction together. And then the product, if you'll just remember, is the answer to a multiplication problem. So we have before converted improper fractions into mixed numbers and the mixed numbers back to improper fractions. So if you need to refer to your notes from when we did that before, go ahead and do that because it will help you. But we're just going to jump right in. This will combine that with multiplying fractions that we did just last time. So step number 1 is to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. Okay, and we taught you around the world method. So you multiply the denominator by the whole number, and then you add the numerator, and then you keep it all over the same denominator. So go ahead and do that with our example. We would multiply 2 by 1, and then we would add the numerator. So 2 times 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. That will give me 2. Oh, sorry. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 over 2. We're going to multiply still, and we're just going to do the same thing with this other mixed number. Change it to an improper fraction. So I'm going to multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. Keep it over the same denominator. So I have 3 halves times 8 thirds. Now, step number 2 is to cross, simplify, or cancel where you can. Remember, this will make your life so much easier if you will simplify now instead of at the end. So, if you remember, I have my commutative property of multiplication, which means that it doesn't matter the order I multiply, which allows me to cancel those out because it's like having 3 over 3, which equals 1. I can also cross-cancel some of these as well. I can simplify this. I know that 2 will go into 8, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now I can just multiply straight across this pow-pow. Step number 3. 1 times 4 equals 4, and then 1 times 1 equals 1. Now, this means that it takes one piece to make a whole, because if you remember, the bottom number is the whole, and I have 4 pieces. That means that I just have 4 wholes, so my answer is 4. All right, so then we're going to check that our answer is simplified, and can't get any more simple than that. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that first one. Let's go ahead and move down to these together problems. Okay, around the world, we've got our denominator multiplied by our numerator. 5 times 1 equals 5. 5 plus 1 equals 6. So I've got 6 fifths multiplied by, around the world here, 3 times 1 equals 3. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So I've got 6 fifths times 5 thirds. Okay, so I just converted them. That's step 1. Step 2 is to cross simplify. Okay, so I've got this 5 over 5. I can simplify both of those to 1. And I can also simplify these because I know that 3 will go into 6. So we are also going to cross simplify here as well. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 6 divided by 3 equals 2. Okay, step number 3, multiply straight across. 2 times 1 equals 2. And then I have 1 times 1. Now I could write that over 1, but I know that 2 over 1 equals 2. That is my simplified answer. All right, moving on to number 2. My first step, convert them to the improper fraction. So here we go. Around the world, 4 times 2 equals 8. 8 plus 3 equals 11. So I've got 11 fourths. Okay, let's go ahead and change our other mixed number into an improper fraction. 12 times 1 equals 12. 12 plus 1 equals 13. So I've got 11 fourths times 13 twelfths. Now I'm gonna check and see if I can cross simplify. But 11 is prime, so those won't. And 13 is also prime, so those won't. So that's all right. We can't simplify, so we're just gonna multiply straight across. 11 times 13. So I have room up here. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. You could also say, well, I know what 11 times 12 is, and then I'm just gonna add 11 more. But I'm gonna go ahead and multiply this. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 1. Placeholder. 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. Go ahead and add those together. And I have 143 for my numerator, and my denominator is 4 times 12, which equals 48. Now, if you didn't know that 4 times 12 equals 48, you need to be practicing your multiplication facts at home. It will make this a lot easier for you guys. Practice those, practice them a lot. Okay, that cannot be simplified because we checked before, so we're good. All right, number 3 together. First step, convert it to an improper fraction. First step, multiply by our whole number. 9 times 5 is 45. 45 plus 5 is 50. So I have 50 over 9. And this is already in just a normal fraction, so we don't have to convert it to anything. We just multiply straight across. Except for, first we should simplify, and we can. So I know that 10 will go into 50. So 10 divided by 10 is 1. 50 divided by 10 is 5. Now I'm going to multiply straight across. 5 times 7 equals 35. And 9 times 1 equals 9. 9 will not go into 35, so that is simplified. Now, I left both of these as an improper fraction, and that is totally fine. Improper fractions are great. If they're already an improper fraction, they're much easier to multiply with, and so that is fine. Leave those answers as improper fractions. The only time you need to switch them to a mixed number is if it will make sense in your answer. Like if it's a word problem and it's asking you how many cups of flour would you need if you doubled this recipe, you wouldn't want to leave your answer as 5/2 because that's not how we measure when we cook. You would want to change that to a mixed number because you would need 2.5 cups of flour, if that makes sense, okay? All right, let's move on to our last one, number 4. Around the world, let's convert this to an improper fraction. 3 times 4 equals 12. And then 12 plus 2 right there is 14. So I have 14 thirds. Remember that parentheses mean to multiply, and I'm going to multiply that by 3/14. Ooh, this is going to work out super nice because those will both cancel to 1, and these will both cancel to 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. So I would have 1 over 1, which equals 1. And that is it. So go ahead and do those last 4 pause and tries. We'll check them together tomorrow.